Oh, we're live. We're live again. Yes. Hey everyone, it's Mathias from Human Garage, and we're going live today with Living Beyond Nutrition to discuss. What does discuss mean, my friends? Discover and go deeper into the idea of soursop. Very powerful thing. And we're going to be talking about the benefits and the nutrients and how it affects that lovely body of yours. If you've never been here before, my name is Mathias, and I host these every Wednesday. And we love to talk with and collaborate with amazing partners. You may have noticed if you go over to the Human Garage page and you scroll down, used in our own day-to-day lives. And these are deep dive discussions with the people who created those products and services and allowed us to implement them. So today we're going to be having a discussion and diving deep into it. But before we start that, hello.
Hi.
How are
I'm
you?
getting some set up.
Awesome. Just give me a few moments. I'm just doing a little housekeeping before we dive into everything. But I wanted to bring you on so you didn't get lost in the shuffle of people hopping on here.
Okay.
So we have these discussions every Wednesday to understand the who, what, where, when, and why of a product. Because it's one thing to have someone pitch you something or go like, hey, you should use this. But what's the story behind it? Why is it important? And what are the actual benefits? Because not all products and services are created equal. If you take a look at the shelves, if you walk through any nutrition store, you'll see 10 million of the same product. And a lot of them, unfortunately, are junk or have cheap versions of an ingredient, or they don't have enough of it to produce an effect. And that's why it's important to do your research and do your due diligence. And that's part of the reason for having these deeper discussions, so you can start to understand what's going on behind products, what's going on behind a certain ingredient, and you can make an informed, powerful decision for yourself and your health. Before we just dive deep into this discussion, though, if you haven't already done so, please go over to humangarage.net and sign up for our coaching program. If you've done the fascial maneuvers, if you've experimented with it and it's affected your life, changed your life, or transformed someone else's life, and you want to start to understand it in an even deeper way, and the little nuances that can come from, hey, if you kind of twist here or you use your breath in this slightly different way, it's going to take your practice even deeper and further. Go sign up on the waiting list. We're about to release our partnered maneuver series, where this is where you can do it and learn the nuance of doing it with another human being and help those people around you. So go sign up now if you haven't already done so. It's going to be released. And if you want to connect with me personally, you can follow me over at Aaron Mathias The Purpose, where we talk everything about beliefs and shifting energy. Go over there. Without further ado, welcome.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Well,
Good.
yeah, I actually am doing really good. I woke up this morning not being able to hardly talk. For some reason, the air was dry, affected my throat, and I was like, "Oh man, how am I going to do the live?" But now it seems that I'm okay to talk. So,
Where are you? I know you go live all the time from this area.
yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm in Colombia, in Cartagena, Colombia.
Amazing. Awesome. Love
Where
it.
where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Melbourne, not Australia, Melbourne, Florida.
I was just on the phone with somebody from Australia. I was like, "Well, that'd be so crazy if I was just."
That would be amazing if I was in Australia, but I'm not. No, I'm in Melbourne, Florida, and it's beautiful out today. So it's exciting. It looks beautiful where you are. And I am a
Yeah.
little croaky too because I've been talking so much today already. So we'll deal with it together.
Wouldn't that be hysterical if we both all of a sudden were like, and we had to try to create a new, start speaking in sign language to each other about trying to communicate soursop to people.
That
Um,
would be funny.
but what I'd love for you to do is, before we start, I'm going to reverse what I usually do. I usually do this at the end of conversations, but today I'm going to try it in the beginning. We're going to do a little sync up. We typically do it before we start meetings, or if we sit down to eat, we just kind of sync up our energies. It's really simple to do. But for those of you who are listening or watching this, obviously you can do the breathing part of this. Don't try to grab your hands while you're driving, or grab yourself and let go of your steering wheel. So give yourself a hug essentially, and you can rotate off take your right shoulder and just give yourself a twist to one side, and then rotate your head the opposite way. So you're kind of like looking back over that shoulder. And if you're standing or even sitting, you can even cross your leg one over the other.
Okay. Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, because give yourself a little stress, and plus you're just giving yourself a hug, which feels good
Yeah.
naturally anyway.
Yeah.
And we're just going to take 6 breaths together. And if your nose is a little plugged up, just do it through your mouth. I tend to prefer nose breathing personally. So I'm
Mhm.
going to breathe in through my nose and just let it out. But we're just going to take 6 breaths together. So get yourself a nice little hug and twist. And let's do breath number 1 and let it go. Breath number 2. Breath 3. Breath 4. Breath 5. And breath 6.
You know what's really interesting about that?
Yeah.
My minute can go so much farther than when we first did it, the
Yeah.
first breath.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
just it's letting the body feel safe and connected, and just by the idea of giving it a little counter twist, it's kind of like wringing out when you wring out like a towel. You're
Hmm.
creating that counter rotation with your whole body, and you're not doing it really hard. You're just then pressurizing with the breath. It allows the body to go, I can let go.
Yeah. I was looking at all your stuff last night until about 1 in the morning because I went down like a rabbit hole
Okay.
on bowel movements and release of, well, my background and how I got started
Yeah.
was really by accident. And I don't know if we want to talk about that right now, but I've had a lot of trauma. And so when you don't when you bury trauma down in your body and you don't release it, it manifests into illness. And a lot of your techniques release that. It's amazing. I actually signed up so I can learn more about fascia. Did I say
High
that
five.
right?
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Amazing. And at one point, I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's, which I know is from trauma being buried. But recently, I had my blood work done and it was great. But last year, I had what they called connective tissue disorder. And
okay.
obviously, you're working on connective tissue and, inflammation in the body, which we all carry. It just varies from person to person on how much you're carrying as far as inflammation goes. But yeah, I had some trauma in my childhood and I just buried it down mainly from shame, never dealt with it. And when I turned 40, all of a sudden I was sick and I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's. I couldn't get out of bed. And so they put me on horrendous medications, Plaquenil, which is the drug everyone was talking about during COVID,
Okay.
high doses of steroids,
Oh.
Wellbutrin for depression. You name it, I was on it. And my mission was really just to get off of all of those horrific medications. And had I discovered you back then, would have made all the difference. But I ended up using food as medicine. And
Okay.
that's kind of how I started my journey with Soursop. But prior to that was Cauliflower Foods, which was the first cauliflower pizza crust to hit the market. And we were the
Oh
first
wow.
ones. Yeah. So that's how I got
Oh, well,
started in
I didn't put
food.
that together. That you created that company as well.
Well, on accident though, because I really just was looking. I have 3 kids. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I'm
Yeah.
married. I was looking for that traditional Friday night family night pizza and board games, and we used to get like Domino's or Round Table Pizza, and the next day I would be so inflamed I couldn't even get out of bed. So I was looking for an alternative way, and at the time there was nothing in the grocery store but Udi's, which is terrible for you even
Yeah.
today. So we do these, but and so yeah, I found a recipe online for a cauliflower pizza crust, and it, cauliflower wasn't really a vegetable that I ever ate. It was just like,
No,
it's
me
the
neither.
last veggie
Yeah.
standing at a party. Like nobody eats it. It's the last veggie standing at a party. But
Yeah.
now it's a $1 billion category, and I took it to farmers
Great.
market with my kids. People loved it. And then it went viral online in 2017, and we sold it to some venture capitalists out of Boulder, Colorado in 2019.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Just so, because we just had quite a few people just jump back in here. Can you give yourself a proper introduction to the who, what,
sure.
where, who you are, and
Yes.
what your lovely company is? Just so you have a little context. Because I know we're
Yeah.
talking about trauma and all that. We got into
Yeah.
it right
Yeah.
away, but
Yeah.
let's give people a little reboot of who
Yeah.
you
Okay.
are.
I'm Amy Lacy. I'm the founder of Be Me Beyond Medicine, and we use soursop, which is a fruit grown in the Caribbean, to make supplement different products. Soon to make skincare. Well, we have the skincare. We haven't launched it yet, as well as teas. We have electrolytes. We have shakes. We have gummies. Using soursop, which a lot
Amazing.
of people have never heard of soursop. What we were talking about is the trauma that I experienced as a child, buried it down. It manifested itself in illness when I was the age of 40. And so I created another company prior to this company, which was the first cauliflower pizza crust to hit the market. Sold that. When I sold that, it was 2019, and we decided to move out of Northern California to Florida. And honestly, COVID hit, and it was kind of a full circle moment. I started getting, I lost my identity. I was the CEO of this thriving company that was just booming. I sold it, didn't have anything to do with it anymore. Moved to across the country to a new area where I had no friends. So I kind of went into a full circle moment. I started getting a lot of inflammation. I experienced depression. So immediately I knew what to do to get help. And during the time of getting help, I met a woman who was also getting help treating her symptoms of stress and anxiety because her daughter had been diagnosed with cancer. And so we started talking about food as medicine and different foods. And she told me about soursop. And my mom had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. So I went ahead and I started researching soursop. Really hard to find. I couldn't find it anywhere around here. So I ordered it online, and the fruit was like, for a small piece of fruit about this big, was about $30.
Do
Very
you have one? Do you
expensive.
have one?
I know. I wish I had one for
Yeah, because
this
it'd be interesting because
presentation.
I don't think many people have ever actually seen what a sour sop looks like.
Let me show you. If I'm pretty sure I have a picture. Here is a picture of what it looks like. Can you see that?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So I'll leave that. That's what a soursop looks like. And, soursop, for those that don't know, soursop is grown in the Caribbean. It's called all kinds of different names. It's called maracata, graviola, guanabana, but
Mm,
we call it soursop. And its leaves and its fruits contain really high concentrations of vitamin C, as well as what we call acetogenins.
okay.
So that's the soursop. Yeah, and there's a lot of studies. Of course, we don't promote it for cancer, but this woman swore that it was helping her daughter. And so I wanted to look at it for my mom. And so I started taking it, and I realized, wow, it's helping my inflammation. It's helping chronic disease state that I was in, which was at the time connective tissue disorder, diagnosed as connective tissue disorder.
Okay.
Yeah. And you guys help a lot with that, with your different techniques. So I was really impressed when I was watching some of the things last night and last week.
So cool. Well, it's like it's combining almost like everything what people are doing because what you putting inside your body has one effect. What you do with the outside of your body has another effect, right? You put products on your body, and then
Absolutely.
actually getting out and moving this meat suit that we're hanging out in it becomes so important. I think sometimes people forget like hey, it's yes, you should dial in your nutrition and use things to assist and help, but if you're still just sitting around on your couch all day long, you can have all the good nutrition in the world. It's still not gonna. It's gonna make an improvement, but not gonna go anywhere to the potential it could go.
Yeah.
Start moving, or whatever movement you choose to do, getting out and doing something, taking a walk even is going to start to accelerate the progress of your putting all that good stuff in your body. Now, I'm super curious though, like what you saw the Soursop, started using it. Where it sounds like were you born with this kind of entrepreneurial mind to go like, oh, this is amazing, I want to bring this to more people, or like how
Well,
did you then make the
I,
decision of like I'm gonna turn this into a whole product line?
I think I'm really good at finding what I call white space that's needed to be filled in our industry. So prior to the first cauliflower pizza crust coming to the market, and honestly, I'm really just serving, like, you serve other people best when you serve yourself first, meaning
Yeah.
like whatever issues you have, if you can combat those and share it and pay it forward. So that's kind of how I got started. My very first business was treating onychomycosis, which I actually never had that. Do you know what onychomycosis is?
No.
It's toenail fungus, which is kind of gross. But an entrepreneur in my hometown had created these medical lasers to treat it because the medicine for onychomycosis is horrendous on your body, and
Wow.
it's terrible. It wreaks havoc on it. So yeah, we brought medical lasers over to New Zealand. That's where my husband's family's from. Have you ever been to New Zealand?
Not yet. It's on
I
my it's on
highly
my
recommend
it's on my
anybody.
list.
I highly recommend everybody go to New Zealand. So that's where I got my first start, my very first entrepreneurial spirit, where I saw a need. There's a lot of people that are very active in New Zealand. A lot of them have onychomycosis, and some of our relatives had it. And so I was like, okay, this guy has created this amazing product. Let me buy the rights to the country of New Zealand and take it over there. So I partnered with some podiatrists, and that was my very first company. And then, I have 3 kids. So I was stay-at-home mom. I was very happy. And one day I just couldn't get out of bed. I was so sick. And I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's. And that's where I started looking for recipes that I could use for myself to heal myself. And the cauliflower pizza crust, I took it to farmers market, really is just a way for the kids to learn how to talk to people and have a job. And I
Okay.
knew, and it went viral, and boom, all of a sudden I had a business. So I learned a lot about the food and beverage industry in those years, because at one point we were selling a pizza crust every 6 seconds online. So it
Wow.
was crazy. And I currently have the same team, almost the same team. There's a few people missing for
Okay.
Soursop. So going back to Soursop, I saw a need. It's hard to get here. It's very expensive.
Okay.
There are a lot of clinical trials out there being done, but most of them are in other countries.
Wow.
Soursop's not new. It's been around for centuries. It's been around forever. It's used in the Caribbean. A lot of grandmothers have used it. Great grandmothers have used it. I was at my doctor's actually, and she's from the Caribbean, and she said her great grandmother used to use it, take the leaves, make a liquid out of it, not quite a tea, but like a tea, and feed it to colic babies. So I mean, it's been around for a long time, but I didn't see anything on the market for soursop, and so we decided to make the first soursop gummy. Now there's a lot of them on the market. You mentioned earlier when we
Yeah,
first
it's
got
like
on here. Yeah, you mentioned earlier that people are just, throwing up different products, and you got to be really careful. And so I always say you should look, even in the food industry, you should look at where the product's coming from, the founder behind it, and what's the why. Why did they create it to begin with? And
yeah.
so, yeah, so it really helped me personally fight inflammation, build up my immune system. I would get sick very easily before and be debilitated for a few days. And since taking Soursop, and I take it every single day. I mean, I'm either drinking it or I'm either drinking it or taking the gummies every day, and I have not been sick. Now that's actually a lie. I did get sick. I went on a cruise and I came off with a high fever, and I tested positive for for the flu. Anyways, I started doubling up my soursop. I made myself smoothies. I just doubled up the soursop, and
Yeah.
within 24 hours, I should have this particular flu lasts usually 7 to 9 days. I should have been still sick. Within 24 hours, I was fine and back to work. And so I had ran out of the soursop on the cruise. So I do believe if you take it every day, your immune system, it's not the shakes alone have over 500% of your daily recommended vitamin C. So it's very high in vitamin C.
Yeah.
And it's an excellent fruit, and not a lot of people know about it. So I'm like, okay, we need to bring it here and we need to make it readily available. So like in our shakes that you all promoted, we use the leaves and the pulp in those shakes. So it's an excellent source of acetogenins, and it's
Okay.
just it helps tremendously, not only with excuse me, hold on.
Yeah, the throat.
Yeah. They're
For those
probably
of
like,
you,
where's your
those of you
soursop
joining,
now?
we talked about this earlier. Is like I actually before I came on could hardly talk, and you were struggling with your little voice a little bit before too.
Yeah, so it fights oxidative stress, it does cell regeneration, it builds um, your immune system. There's a bunch of things it does that we can't even talk about
Yeah,
because we'll get shut down.
yeah,
And I encourage people to go and look and Google it and read some of the clinical trials. There's an excellent WebMD article that was published last year, April 24th, 2024. Excellent reports about cancer and soursop. But again, we don't promote it for cancer. We don't cure cancer. We don't do anything on the cancer side, but it's part of my story because that's how I found it.
amazing. Now, could you go into a little bit of, you said something interesting about using like leaves and pulp of it. Now, I'm huge on trying to understand or having people to understand these things especially with supplementation, because, for example, with when people use mushrooms, you get if you take lion's mane or quadriceps or whatever mushrooms you're taking, you get different amounts of it or different concentrations depending on how it was grown, where it
Right.
was grown, and what it was grown on. Is there a similar kind of like designation with soursop? Like, do you get more of the benefit by using a combination of the pulp and the leaves, or does it matter how it is?
I definitely believe that it matters. And a lot of the products that are online right now are using a processed formula out of China or leaf. So I believe if you can get your hands on the pulp and the leaf, you're fighting oxidative stress more, and concentration might be higher. Um, most of the products that you see online right now are using leaf only. There are some drinks out there that are using the actual fruit, but our shakes were using both the leaves and the pulp. Now, in some of our other products, we're just using the leaf. So the leaves, soursop leaves are very, very powerful, though. I don't know if that helps you answer, if I've answered that correctly for
Yeah,
you, or if that gives you a little clarity.
yeah, it definitely does, because it's kind of like because I mean, you can probably speak to this because you're in the industry. You know, a lot of production companies and supplement companies work, and because
Mhm.
someone sees a trending product, they're like, I'm gonna go make that. So they put together a cool label. And what a lot of supplement companies do, unfortunately, is a lot of times they'll take the amount of an ingredient, and because they're like, hey, we'll make it for you, but here's the cheapest way to do it, and you can still put it on the label and say that you have it. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that because they want to catch a trend. Well, then they put like such a small amount of a core ingredient that it's like, is that actually producing an effect in a human being? Because if something has been studied a bit and you go look up the research, like I'm going to probably say this wrong, but even something like ashwagandha, typically it either has to be a super high potent extract. There's like KSM 66 on the market,
Yeah.
but the concentration of that level is like taking almost like 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of just a regular version of it. You would have to take that much to actually maybe potentially produce the benefits of it in the body. So
Right.
I think understanding the distinction of combining that is important, so people don't get like go and just buy something thinking, hey, this is going to help me. I heard it's going to help me. And then they're not even getting the full benefit of the potential. And they're like, oh, this sucks, when the product could actually help them. So I think what you're saying is you are getting more of the potential nutrients and benefits of it by combining the leaf and the pulp together.
Yes, but we do use in our gummies a very high concentration of the leaf only, just like you're talking about. But you're right. It's funny because I have an innovation team. It's not funny, actually. It's really not funny. I have an
Yeah.
innovation team. So we're manufactured in an FDA, non-GMO, USA manufacturing plant. Very, probably pretty standard. However, we work with a bunch of scientists and we've been working on the product for a couple of years. And I noticed a new product came out right after we did, and they were claiming 5,000 milligrams of Americata in their product, in the capsule. And the scientists and the innovation team were like, that's virtually a lie. That's impossible. It's impossible to get that into that capsule. So yeah, we do have, we're very proud of the fact that we use both the pulp and the leaves in our shakes, but we also have a lot of other powerful superfood ingredients in those shakes, which
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about as well. And then, but in the gummies, the way that we're making the gummies is extracting the leaf. We have, and we are noticing too, when we come out with our new packaging of gummies, we will probably have weight based on there, because we are noticing that the benefits of the gummies, depending on how much you weigh, that's the effect you're getting. So while
Oh,
the
cool.
package says 2 gummies per day, for me, to keep my immune system built up, I'm eating 3 in the morning and 3 in the evening. It's just fruit. You could eat, I mean, when they were testing it, they eat 30 a day for 30 days. Several people, no problem. Maybe an extra trip or two to the bathroom, but no problems. And we add echinacea in it to build up the immune system as well, and another superfood, elderberry. So yeah, we do use a concentration of the leaves in our gummies, and our shakes, we're using both the pulp and the leaf.
Amazing. But I love what you just described right there is, hey, you may have to like eat a bit more based on where you weigh. You may have to take a little bit more. See that? I love that because that's giving people a good direction, and helping them make an informed decision again of like, oh, okay, cool. This is maybe why I'm not noticing some of the effect. I need to take a little bit more, and it's safe to do so. Because again, a lot of times companies just say, hey, take this capsule, you're good to go. And then people are like, oh, okay, I just wasted my money because nothing's happening, or I haven't had any effects, or what do I need to do? And then no one really answers them. They just go on another quest to try to find the next cool thing. Right.
Yeah, we did a soft launch on our products to really test the market with our community, and we
Yeah.
tapped into our cauliflower community, and we wanted their feedback.
Oh,
And
cool.
so a lot of the feedback was that it had to be sugar free, it had to be low carb. That's what they're used to with the cauliflower pizza. But also, we got feedback that some people, if they were a bigger person, 2 gummies was not affecting them like maybe 4 would. So yeah, we were like, okay, let's study all the feedback on this. Let's go back to the scientists and see. The product itself is excellent. It's
Yeah.
just for some it might be 2, and for others it might be 6. And shoot, I've had people that have been like, am I gonna be okay? I just ate the whole bottle. They taste so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
and they
that's
do.
my
Our
inclination
feedback
of
is
like,
they,
hey, this gummy is really. I'm gonna eat this, and I'm gonna eat the whole bottle. Yeah.
yeah, it tastes delicious. And gummies, for the most part, unless they have a ton of sugar in them, don't taste that good. I don't know if
Yeah.
you if you have experience with gummies or not, but they don't taste as good. So yeah, so it's been a exciting journey. We take it very serious. We're not the supplement that just, I was amazed after we launched how many popped up really quickly. And there's been a lot on the internet about Amazon and supplements on Amazon. And so I really think once again, you got to look at the person behind it
Yeah.
and what they've done to get it there and why they are creating that product.
I 100% agree. Like I make a tallow-based skincare, right? One of my companies myself, and tallow is a trending kind of a trending product, and there's a new one literally popping up everywhere. And if you go in and start to examine, a lot of them now are getting manufactured like by big production houses, and they're cutting corners, and even the way they extract and utilize the tallow, there's quite a few different ways you can do it. But the best way is a traditional dry rendering process that preserves most of the nutrients. But now a lot of companies are using chemical extraction to get more, speed it up, and manufacture more on a mass scale. And it's taking away
And the quality.
some of the quality and the benefits. And then people just see like, oh, I heard this is really good skincare. Let me use it. And then they're going and buying a product that's like not quite what it could be, and then maybe they don't experience the same effects or whatever, and then it kind of, to me, does damage to the marketplace itself, because so many people just want to capture on trend. This is what I heard to do, is just search the internet, find what's trendy, make a business out of it, and launch it. And they don't really give a, I won't swear because maybe we'll get censored. Uh, they don't give a darn about the
Yeah.
oh,
No,
darn carnation. They don't give a darn about actually what they're serving. They just want to cash in really quickly on a thing. And to me, that I don't.
it makes me
It
sick.
bothers me a lot. And I
It bothers me
appreciate.
a lot. Yeah, it makes me really sick. It bothers me a lot. And that's why we're very picky. Matter of fact, one of the competitors that came out after us is one of the first people I talked to about it. And while they signed an NDA, it didn't matter. And they whipped up something. And we were not impressed with their facility or the people that were working on the innovation behind it. It just wasn't quality. So it's interesting that they popped up something they had never even heard of Soursop, and where they wanted to source it from was highly processed. And I learned this in the cauliflower space. Like, we used fresh cauliflower, we used 5 ingredients or less, and all these competitors came up, including Oprah with a cauliflower pizza crust that was filled with fillers and junk. And so I'm really experienced in this copycat kind of let's
Yeah,
make a quick buck, and it makes me so sick. But we're starting to expose a lot of food companies for what they are. Not to get on a tangent about food, but I think it crosses over to supplements for
a hundred
sure.
percent.
If
Because
not,
it's still a food you're putting in your body.
yeah, if not, supplements are worse because the regulations they're not where they should be to monitor people that are putting out products, for sure, not. But like with the food industry, the FDA allows us 20% variance on our labels. So you can put 20% more sugar or hydrogenated oils or whatever crap you have in your product. Hopefully crap isn't considered a censored word as I've
No,
now said
no.
it twice.
I mean, we sometimes swear, but it's like
Okay.
we just like we've been trying to be a little bit more conscious of like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if they do throttle a little bit if the AI detects cursing in something.
But anyway, so they can have 20% more of these ingredients, harmful ingredients, and not claim them on their labels. And
That's crazy.
yeah, look at Google FDA requirements. Yeah, it's there. And a lot of these big companies, 11 companies are directly responsible for 77% of the food in our grocery store. And they take advantage of that 20% variance. And I saw it all day long with cauliflower. So now I'm in the supplement industry and it's even worse. I mean, things are popping up left and right. People are taking, excuse me, I'm gonna take a drink because I literally started talking at 5 this morning. Okay, people are taking on the internet clips for soursop in general. I'm finding it clips of science and putting it into their as though their product is responsible for that science. It's just so fraudulent, and nobody's doing anything about it yet. But I believe they're going to. I do believe they're going
Yeah.
to.
I mean,
And
it's tricky, I think, too, because it's like being able to have a free market and like let people create and compete is needed. But then yet these things pop up where people are putting junk. But then it seems like when people come in to regulate it, then they go too far the opposite way and overregulate, which stops people from sometimes being able to bring something new, like even soursop, to the market. Like you can't bring a fruit because of this. You know, it's something's like, so it's like, how do we find the balance of that in these industries where we let people be innovative and be able to be creative, but then also monitor where people are just trying to like take advantage of people.
well, I think people are getting smarter, especially with access to AI and the internet, and doing their own due diligence, their own research, and really figuring it out. But still, labels are very misleading. Good marketing can be very misleading. So I think it's important to look at when the product came out, why the product came out, where it's sourced from.
Yeah.
Um, and that's very important in supplements, definitely. And another thing is people will get on these trends like right now, and it has been for a while. Everybody's talking about protein, protein, protein. And yes, protein is extremely important. But what we are noticing is that people aren't getting enough fiber. And
Hmm.
so we've been trying to talk about the fiber. There was a study done, and you guys, by the way, I was laughing because you guys have a way to help you poop. Hopefully, we don't get censored on that.
No, no,
But
you can
I
talk
was
about
thinking,
poop. It's okay.
you
Poop you
guys
can
have a
say.
really creative stretching move to help you have a bowel movement, which is
Yeah.
awesome. I love that you guys do that, by the way, where you put up different ways that people can do it at home, and it's going to help certain situations like
Yeah.
reflex, pooping, headaches, and so forth. But there was a study that was done, and they looked at Americans from 2013 to 2018. They studied 14,600 Americans, and what they found is that 93% of Americans weren't getting enough fiber in their diet. And we know that fiber is extremely important for chronic disease, for diabetes. I mean, more than just going poop regularly. And it's been a hot topic lately with the GLP-1s being so popular. A lot of people are experiencing constipation with that product. So I think we should be shifting. While I'm not saying protein isn't good, but 98% of Americans are getting enough protein because that's what's all over and that's what everyone talks about. But 93% of Americans are not getting enough fiber. And I think
Hmm.
that's really important.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
what is the composition of the shakes? Just for people to understand.
So in the shakes, we have 7 grams of fiber. And so we have organic sea moss, we have soursop, we have milk thistle, we have turmeric, which is excellent for joints. We have elderberry, goji berry, blueberries. We use the leaf and the pulp. It's low carb. It's got all kinds of vitamins. We've got vitamin A, C. We've got over 500% of the daily allowance of vitamin C. We've got B12. We've got D. We've got E. We've got, trying to think, K1, calcium, zinc, magnesium. Magnesium is another thing that a lot of people are talking about. So the shakes are just loaded with superfoods beyond just soursop.
Yeah.
They are loaded. And they're excellent. I'm doing intermittent fasting right now, which I'm not trying to promote intermittent fasting, but that's what I'm doing. And I break my intermittent fast with the shake. And I just feel it just feels great. Now we don't have protein. We do have 7 grams of fiber. You add your own protein to it. So I'll add some chia seeds or almond butter or something like that into my smoothie and make the shake a smoothie typically. But yeah, that's what our shakes consist of. We use organic turmeric. I love turmeric. I don't know how you feel about turmeric, but I think it's an excellent product. We use organic sea moss. We try to use as much organic as we can, but in true transparency, not all of our ingredients are organic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people might disagree on this statement, but not every single thing. It's like we had this discussion actually with coffee about coffees. Is like people were like, "Oh, everything it's not organic coffee. I can't drink it." It's like actually, where's the coffee from? Where's the source?
Yeah.
Because if you buy a single origin coffee produced by a small farmer, and the coffee roaster bought it directly from that person, and 99% of the time, they're not using any herbicides or pesticides. They're just doing it all in a natural way. But that farmer or that corporation can't afford to purchase the organic certification, which is massively expensive for some companies. And it doesn't always necessarily mean that, oh, because that's not organic, I can't consume it.
It's
Yes,
true.
in
They,
general, yes, try to find chemical free, toxin free, organic as you can. But if every little thing is not organic, it's not like there is still like just where's the source? Has it been tested for toxins, mold, things like that? Is more important to understand than if you just see that label. And I think
yeah.
people get too again, it becomes a stress where they get too caught up in that labeling of it, and they don't. And if you understand more, that's also why we do these conversations,
Yeah.
so people understand in a deeper way of like, hey, where's it coming from? Where's it sourced? The producer might not be able to afford because they're a small producer to even get a certification, but they're still organic
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah,
still natural.
definitely. And I think it's important that where you're manufacturing, they're testing for heavy metals, and
Yeah.
it's very important to have a quality manufacturer,
Yes.
and they typically cost more too.
Yep.
So yeah, it really is hard. I know, just for our product alone, I had to raise some capital to be able to afford the quality ingredients and the inventory that we have. Very important though to me to put out a very high quality product. And, you know, I think you have a great point. I wish the entire product was organic, but it's not, and it doesn't always necessarily mean everything. I mean, they're starting to debunk that as well as like non-GMO and different things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, because people cut corners. I mean, even I mean, we go down the rabbit hole of even where, is USDA organic fully organic? Because now that so many big food corporations have gotten into the mix and saw like, oh, organic products are trendy. We should make organic products too, which is kind of crazy. Or they buy up a company, but then they push to have the standards lowered from where they may initially have been. Because I forget the other name. There's another organic testing company. What the heck is it called? I'll have to put
I,
it in the comments after this is reposted if I pull up the name. But there's another organic testing company that's actually has higher standards of testing than USDA organic. And they're like, if you use their standards, you're not really completely organic because they can circumvent certain things and still claim organic.
yeah, true. I'm trying to think too. I know exactly. We're just going through all of this, so I know who you're talking about, and I'm drawing a blank as well. Um, Somebody should come on and tell us.
Yeah, if somebody out there knows the name of the other,
Jimmy,
there's
if
another
you're
testing company.
listening,
Yeah,
Jimmy, who works for me, she's applying for all of that right now with us. She
yeah.
knows. Yeah, yeah. But
See,
I encourage everybody to look up soursop. I mean, it
yeah.
contains a lot of antioxidants. Look up the fruit. What I love about what we're doing is we're offering the benefits of the fruit in a more cost effective way. But we're not cutting corners, but we are adding other superfoods too to the product, to make it a superior product. But
Mhm.
for the price of one piece of fruit, you can have a month's supply. And so I just think the fruit too, sometimes it's so hard to get here in the United States. Sometimes when you do order it, like if you go on Amazon and you order just the fruit, I've spent $300 to get a box of fruit and have 6 pieces of it be spoiled, and 1 piece be good. So I just saw a need in the industry, and I'm like, okay, this helps with obesity. Our shakes help with obesity, excessive weight, type 2 diabetes, blood pressure, heart disease, all these things that we really can't talk about. We talk about cell regeneration, we talk about inflammation and immunity, again, because that's what we're allowed to talk about. But if you look at Soursop itself and you start looking at the data, there's a ton of data that supports all of those other conditions and more. And the cell regeneration is a big key, and it's going to be a big one for our skincare as well. It's interesting though, because, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and start going down this other rabbit hole, but it's like all these studies out there are done like in the UK and other, and people are using the fruit in other parts of the world, but we're not using it in the United States. And so in my opinion, and by the way, I'm married to a doctor, so when I say this, we're holistic versus Western medicine butting heads, kind of like Democrat versus a Republican butting heads, in our household. But I say this because I feel like Big Pharma just wants to keep us sick in the United States. And Soursop is one of those things that is just, it's a super fruit like no other. Like I've never seen anything like it. And I don't think it's readily available here on purpose. And it's interesting because there was a study done in 2017, and they talk about the amount of soursop that was given to a rat. It was the equivalent to eating 10 pounds of soursop fruit a day for a human. And they said they had Parkinson-like conditions. So the outcome was poor. But that who's eating 10 pounds of fruit a day every single day for like 10 years? Not happening. So it's just, I think it's one of those super fruits that can change lives, can change disease states. I mean, I've watched it in my own home, I've watched it with my mom, and it's not going to be, it's, you have to be really careful what you say. But if you Google it and you see some of the clinical trials that are done and more human studies need to be done on the fruit itself, it's been around for years. I just was talking to a medicine man, and he is he's now in Hawaii, but he's from the Caribbean. And he's like, Amy, you guys have a gold mine. You're sitting on a gold mine, but you're coloring in the lines. And I'm like, yeah, we're not allowed to color outside the lines. We'll get in trouble. Kind of. I mean, we might get shut down, but then other people can put out poor ingredients and nobody says a word to them, and false marketing. So it's just, yeah.
It's wild. You said something interesting. Just going back for a second, it's wild to watch that medicines or conventional care medicines, from whether it be antidepressants or whatever it may be, has massive amount of side effects, have increased suicide rates, have increased, deaths, destroy people's livers and kidneys,
Yes.
and all day long. But then people will come on and condemn something like Soursop and say, well, there's a study where someone ate 10 pounds of fruit and then they got sick. You
Well,
shouldn't take it. And
it wasn't even a human, it was a rat, and it was excessive. It was a crazy amount if you converted it over.
Yeah, so it's like, but people just hear that and they're like, oh my God. And it's like, wait a second, back up for a second, back up and think about this. Again, here's where you're letting information. So substances that have 10 million side effects are okay to take all day long, but a substance that one rat study that ate massive amounts of it got sick on, and you should stay away from it. Don't doctors say you should stay? Well, how do you take your doctor seriously then if he's giving you these things and saying, hey, yeah, take this, it'll be okay. Take this, take this, take this, take this. And those things have actually demonstrated in our society over the course of years the damaging effects they have on the body, your hormones, whatever else it may be.
Yes.
And yet the same person with a straight face is turning around and saying, I don't know, you should be careful with this fruit.
Yeah. It's interesting too
Wow.
because I mean, you said a lot in that, and I go back to when I was diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's, and they put me on Plaquenil, which has terrible side effects. So the Plaquenil that everybody
Yeah.
was raving about during COVID and wanting to get their hands on, you have to go in and get these really intense eye exams because it causes blindness. It deteriorates your eyesight. And then steroids, well, steroids keep you awake all night. They don't allow you to sleep. They give you anxiety. It's crazy. They make you crazy. Steroids make you crazy. In some prisons, steroids were given as torture for a reason. So yeah, you said something really good. The side effects of these drugs are sometimes, and in my case, worse than the actual condition to begin with.
Yes.
So why not something natural? Why not something holistic? Why not? I mean, I wish we could go down the cancer route, but we can't. I can't. I'll get in so much trouble. But I mean, that's a whole nother subject there. And there's a lot of I have an employee that went the holistic route and she is cured of her breast cancer. I'm not saying that's what people should do. And the woman that I discovered Soursop through, her daughter went through traditional chemo and radiation, but she was getting these lesions on the back of her throat and
Yeah.
in her rectum. She was unable to swallow or go to the bathroom. So she stopped eating. Her mom started making her soursop smoothies and teas, and those lesions went away instantly. And then all of a sudden, everybody in the children's ward was asking her to make them for their kids. And and the ability for the kids to eat again and get nutrition and build up their immune system during these horrific, chemo and radiation treatments it was phenomenal. That's what soursop did for her. And so, yeah, it's a superfood like no other. I want everybody to try it. You don't have to try my product, but try the fruit. Try a good source of
Yeah.
soursop, a good product that's sourced properly. You will be amazed at what it does.
Yeah.
It's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties from the fruit and the leaves. I mean, it reduces damage caused from our free radicals that we have. And, it's affecting our major organs, these free radicals and heavy metals and toxins. And so this is definitely a superfood like I've never seen before. I'm 55 and I feel better now than I've ever felt. And I know it's because I've been taking soursop for 2 years, 3 years now, almost three
Yeah.
years.
And just so everyone's aware, we're not giving medical advice, even though we could.
No,
But
but you know
what
what?
we're
I
stating,
do it.
what we're
Yeah.
encouraging you to do is listen to your body, pay attention, and just consider, with the plethora of information out there, that if you when something is stagnant or not moving, right, it becomes kind of dead. It starts to
Yeah.
collect
Good
all
point.
this stuff in it. And if you just look at water when it's not moving or flowing, it can become poisonous and toxic. So imagine if you look at your own body, which is made up of a great percentage of water,
Hmm.
if it becomes stagnant and stuff is getting collected and just sitting around and not flowing or moving, and then you do more stuff to stop its flow or stop it from moving, what do you think the effects become on that? So when you put something in it like soursop, which can benefit the flow, I'm saying this in a nice, politically correct way, benefit the flow, or start to move your body and release the tension and the stressors, and stressors are never going to go away. But if you start
Hmm.
to change your relationship with how you're dealing with those stressors, you start to open up the door to create that flow and let your body do what it already knows how to do and feed it with things that assist it to do what it knows how to do. You're going to have start to create the best possible scenario to heal.
Absolutely. And if you go back, I'm just going to use my husband for an example because
Yeah.
I've been with him through medical school, residency, the whole bit. And they got a half day on nutrition.
Yeah.
That's all they learned about nutrition was a half day. So, I mean, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but I'm just going to say it because
Yeah.
it's real life.
Yes.
He works for
Yeah.
a system that requires that he sees so many patients per day. And so he doesn't have time to educate people on a more holistic, natural way to treat symptoms. Like, he's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He's also board certified in sleep. So he's treating those kinds of conditions. And it's usually, prescribing something. And it's not usually a natural remedy because they don't have time for that. The pressure is on. So, yeah, I can see it from both sides. And, there are people like, take type 2 diabetes, for example. I was on an airplane not too long ago and I saw a guy give himself an injection and then eat a bag of potato chips. I mean, you got to take some responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think a more holistic way. Like recently, I always every year suffer from allergies. And I noticed that the last 2 years I haven't had any allergies. And in Florida, I thought Northern California was bad, but Florida, I've had worse allergies here with the pollen than in Northern California. I really think it's the soursop because it's got the anti-inflammatory benefits to it. And I think it's helping me with my allergies. And we've had a lot of people say to us that they're not experiencing allergies like they did before. So, I mean, a lot of people are on Allegra or Claritin or Benadryl, which can make some people crazy, but there are natural ways just to treat something like, allergies, something as basic as allergies.
Yeah.
So I hope people will give this fruit a try. I think they'll see huge benefits from it. And I was excited to discover it. Much like discovering that cauliflower is so bland, it takes on the flavors of anything. So you can make a pizza out of it and make rice and shoot. Now they even have ice cream. I was more excited about this fruit called soursop and all the amazing benefits that it has because it can. I mean, it's just the most powerful superfruit, I think, and it's just so high in vitamin C that and the antioxidants that it just builds your immune system. You have a
Yeah.
strong immune system, you're going to combat a lot of different conditions. So I'm super excited about it. And you went back to hydration. We have an electrolyte also. I know you feature other electrolytes on your page, and I just think it's so important for people to stay hydrated as well. And a lot of people mistake hunger for dehydration.
Yeah.
And so I think, I have my water here, but with my electrolyte in it, we added soursop to our electrolytes and we use Celtic salt. And we also we have potassium in there.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important. So, yeah, there are basic things you can do like hydration. And I don't know if this is accurate, but I always drink half my body weight in water every day. I think it's just very, very important.
Well, I think with hydration too is people can overdrink because there's this mythology that you need a gallon of water a day. It's more actually important is like minerals in the water because the minerals are helping your cells function properly and like salts having that is more. You don't need to drink as much if you're getting those minerals and nutrients because if you're just drinking tons of water, you're actually just pushing stuff out of your system. You're flushing your
Flushing stuff.
system. And
Yeah.
I don't know when I think that started somewhere years ago. This idea, everyone's got to drink a gallon of water, and whether you drink a gallon of water, people are still dehydrated because they're not absorbing, they're not taking in minerals and at the base of it, which you need more mineralization. And that when you combine that, your body can actually absorb it. And actually, by eating fruits, you're getting hydrated by eating a piece of fruit or things like that because it's full of water and nutrients and minerals. Your body
Absolutely.
takes that and gets it from there. So you don't have to drink so much water. There's a question here that I think would be cool for you to answer. Someone was asking, where do you source from, and how do you tell if it's good or not?
Yeah, so we have an innovation team that sources our leaves. And so we have sourced from Brazil and some of the more native areas where the fruit is grown. So when I first started learning about the fruit, we traveled all over. We went to Seychelles, which is an island off of South Africa, and went to some soursop farms. And so it's been tricky. I will say it's tricky to find it and source it. And now that it's getting popular, I've noticed that most brands are sourcing a lot of their ingredients out of China. And but we have been using our leaves and some of the pulp from Brazil mainly.
Okay.
And I trust that's why we went all over to look at different manufacturing facilities, different innovation teams. I trust the science behind the people that we work with, and I trust where they source the ingredients. And that is very hard to find, by the way, very
Yeah.
hard to find. It took a couple of years. So when I see these people, Google Analytics shows that soursop is a trending topic, and then all of a sudden, all these products start hitting the market. Well, I can almost guarantee I know where they're sourcing it from, and how quickly they're able to pump it out is from these manufacturers that are advertising that they can create your product for you and put your label on it and just whip out something. So yeah, we take that very serious. One of the things that I wanted to say too, going back to what you asked earlier, is the soursop leaves can contain and the reason why I didn't say this earlier is I was like, I got to pull it up because I can never say it correctly. Anonin and assimilabine. It's not something I ever talk about, and it's ANONAINE and ASIMILOBINE, which are compounds with soothing properties that they act on the central nervous system. So these compounds interact with serotonin, which you're familiar with, the neurotransmitter responsible for mood regulation. So another thing that we talk a lot about, and we encourage, like I see my college students benefiting from this, is that our gummies, which are made from the leaves, help improve mood, stress, and anxiety. We even had one of the girls on our marketing team who no longer works with us, tell me that she actually got off of her antidepressants, and she brought that up, and was taking just the gummies. So really important to source high quality ingredients so that you can get the benefit from the leaves or the pulp. In this case, I'm talking about the leaves, so that you can reap the benefits of relieving stress or anxiety. So I think that's an excellent question. And I think it's really important, again, to look at who's behind the company. We have two doctors that have heavily invested in this company. One of them is a neurosurgeon. So that whole thing of Parkinson's, I love to talk about the fact that we have a neurosurgeon backing us, because I don't think he ever would if that was a valid, if
Yeah.
there's any validity to that. I think it's important to look at the founder, the team, the products. So I think that was an excellent question. Hopefully I answered that correctly. I can't give every detail of exactly what farm we get it from. But I will tell you, if you want to try the fruit itself, there is an excellent female-owned and run farm south of Miami, and she does grow soursop along with other tropical fruits. I want you to try our products because they'll be a lot less expensive and the quality is good, and we've added other superfoods in there. But if you want to try the fruit itself, and my apologies for not having one here today, she's a great source. And if you just look up soursop woman-owned farm in Miami, she'll pop up.
So how do people buy it from you? What's the website? A new question just popped up.
Okay. Living Beyond Medicine, or you can type in Soursop Nutrition. When we came out, we used Soursop Nutrition for SEO purposes because nobody knew what soursop was. So that links to our website as well as Living Be Me, which is called Living Beyond Medicine. And that is really we're the bridge between the food industry and Western medicine.
So the actual website is soursopnutrition.com, correct?
Or Living Be Me, you can get to it either way. And like I said, we use Soursop Nutrition just for SEO purposes, just to educate people on soursop.
Got it. So where would you recommend people start?
I recommend that people start with one of our bundles.
Okay.
If they're going to go to...
I'll be right back. I'm going to cough. So go ahead.
Okay.
Keep talking.
I'll talk. I'll just talk. Yeah.
There.
So that's why I have my water. And I want to go back to that really quick because you said, people talking about gallon water and all that, and you're just flushing things out. I think that's why it's so important to have electrolytes on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, electrolytes, minerals, salt, is going to help funnel and keep the cells functioning at a higher level. Because again, just drinking tons of water, and if your water sucks, because there's differences in water, right? People, I think, at least a lot of people who are our audience are already super aware of water, and at least getting quality water, whether it be properly filtered. Because unfortunately, most of the pipes in cities are horrible. They're old. Your water's passing through it. It's kind of dead. It's picking up all that stuff. Or it's been processed through a facility that basically reprocessed some sewer water and then, funnels that back into the system. It's just important to at least in our current state of being, unless you're out in the mountains somewhere. But even then, who knows nowadays? But properly filtering your water. And we're not super huge fans of like reverse osmosis because it strips so much from the water. But if you do have really bad water supply, get a reverse osmosis and then make sure you remineralize and nutrify the water. And that's where actually your products, your water products could come in handy, is to put some of that minerals and salt back in the water after they run it through a reverse osmosis process.
Interesting. Yeah, I've learned a lot about water.
I'm gonna grab a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, grab a drink. Okay.
Explain to people.
Okay, so as far as our products go, I recommend that you start with one of our bundles. I recommend, obviously, you subscribe and save. I would love that because you would get 20% off. But I recommend trying the gummies, the electrolytes. Now, you'll find in our electrolytes, we have less sodium than most electrolytes. We use Celtic salt. It's a little bit less. We use higher volumes of potassium for absorption. And then I also recommend getting one of our shakes. I love the Surge. It actually tastes like soursop. It's using the pulp and the leaves again. And you're getting a tremendous amount of fiber. Not trying to, I guess, shut other companies down, but a lot of popular brands, a lot of our customers were AG1 or Bloom customers, and those products have less than 3 grams of fiber in them. I think fiber is a really hot topic that you're going to start hearing a lot about. We have 7 grams in ours. So I would start with a bundle. So you have the Be Hydrated, you have the gummies, and you have the shake. And that's where I would start if you're on our website. If you've never tried the fruit, I would encourage you to find a piece of fruit. You be prepared that you might get poor quality fruit come in the mail, and it's about $30 a piece of fruit, but definitely try it. If you're in Hawaii, if you're in the Caribbean, if you're in any islands off of South Africa, ask for soursop. It's becoming very popular. You'll be able to try the fresh fruit, the smoothies. They make out of soursop. They make a lot of smoothies. Don't eat the black seeds. They're toxic, poisonous, but definitely try the fruit. I was just recently in the Bahamas scuba diving, and I came across a gelato place, and they had soursop gelato. It was delicious. They had like chunks of the fruit in it. The fruit itself is white. I'm trying to think if I have a picture of it to show you.
Cheryl, the website is soursopnutrition.com.
Yeah. So you can see there that that's what. Have you ever tried it?
I've never actually eaten the fruit. Oh, actually, that's not true. I have. I've eaten it here in Colombia.
Yeah, you would have it there.
Yep.
So it's like a white,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
kind of tastes. I don't know. For me, it tastes like a combination of maybe strawberry and pineapple. It's
Okay.
delicious, and you want it to be not so soft that your thumb goes through it, but you don't want it to be hard. You want it to be soft on the softer side. It's very
Yeah.
juicy. So yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. It kind of looks like. Have you ever seen this fruit called? I'm gonna butcher this name. Deliciosa monstera, the delicious monster.
Oh,
It looks like it has the scales of a lizard, but it's shaped
yeah.
like a banana, and it only I think grows in Mexico. It only comes available like once a year, but it's like a cross between a banana and a pineapple. The taste of it, and you literally have to stick it in a jar and let it peel itself because
Oh,
the scales
I
fall
didn't
off
know.
eventually, and you eat the fruit off almost like corn on the cob. But it's so good. It's a
That sounds okay. So I have heard of it, but
delicious monster. It translates to because
yeah,
it looks
I've
like a
heard.
lizard. A lizard. It looks like a banana lizard.
I've heard of it, but and I might be thinking of something else because I did not know that about it peeling itself. So it's probably not the same thing that I'm thinking of, but
Yeah.
definitely studying. Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
because if you grab it and you try to like pull this, it's super hard
It
to get
won't
it
come off.
off because it's like scales. And if you try to cut into rip it, you destroy the fruit. You have to let it sit kind of like upright, or if it's hanging on a tree, it does it naturally. But it literally starts to unwind like it's shedding its skin. That's why I think they call it the delicious monster because it starts to shed its skin and all the little scales fall off, and you have this beautiful like white fruit.
That sounds yummy. That sounds delicious. There are so many exotic fruits. I was
Yeah.
studying the sugar apple, which was interesting. There's a lot of exotic fruits out there, but I want somebody to find something better than soursop as far as the quality of what it does for you
Yeah.
as a superfruit with superpowers, because
Yeah.
it's amazing. It really is.
So, what are you guys waiting for? Go grab some soursop.
And you get a discount if you buy it from you, which is
If you
great. And
put
you
human
guys are
garage code.
promoting you're you're promoting the shakes, and I understand why, because of all the other superfoods in there and the
Yeah.
fiber and the quality of the shakes. Totally understand that. Our gummies
But hey,
are a
people,
three.
everyone. You're allowed to do what you like.
Yeah,
The gummies are great. They actually taste really good. I've had them. And then you have also the hydration. And
yeah.
the hydration products actually is very solid. That's why I was saying earlier is I think it would work really good in combination with people who are ultra filtering their water because unless you can bring some of the minerals back that occur in water naturally, you're kind of just drinking dead water, especially if you use reverse osmosis. So yes, use that reverse osmosis because most places have such bad water, but you want to put minerals back in and add some good stuff back in. The hydration product would work well for that.
Yeah, and you really do. I'm glad you brought that up. It's just interesting because last week on Thursday, I got you get like those Amber alerts, but I got an alert from our school, our youngest son's school, and they had found E. coli in the water.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're starting to see, you know, problems like that on our fruits and vegetables, on in our water, and so we really have to be careful. I'm kind of
Yeah.
going on a different direction there, but yeah, but on your website you can get the shakes and you can get a discount. If you want a discount on the gummies, it is a three. I'll just remind you, we use the leaf extract. It's a 3-in-1 blend of soursop, echinacea, elderberry. We've added vitamin C, D, and zinc in those. They're non-GMO, gluten-free, zero carbs, and they're done in a USA manufactured facility that's FDA approved. And for whatever that's worth, because I just ripped on the FDA, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
important. They are really strict when they go and test your manufacturing facility. Believe it or not, they
Yeah.
really are.
Oddly enough, they are strict about
Mm-hmm.
supplement facilities that have to be certified. They cut
Absolutely.
corners everywhere else, but for whatever reason, that particular thing they're strict on.
They're very strict. And so, yeah, we're FDA certified. And again, gluten-free, US made. We're sourcing a lot of those leaves out of Brazil and other countries that are carrying the fruit
Yep.
itself. So not ultra processed in China. And yeah, I love our shakes though. They're very powerful. I love the other ingredients that we've added to them. So I would love for you all to try them. I want you to try the fruit as well, but try the combo of the gummies, shakes, and the electrolytes. We use Celtic salt, obviously potassium, and it tastes really good. It's a lemon
Yeah.
lime flavor on the. Have you tried our electrolytes?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like you have. You've tried the gummies and the shakes. So okay, I was going to say I need to send them to you. In August, we'll be launching a skincare line. I know you have
Oh,
your own, but
amazing. Wow. The more great high quality skincare, the better.
yeah. Well, the fruit is so high in vitamin C that it just yeah, and we call our shakes cell and immunity shakes.
Okay.
So yeah.
A question came up in the chat from Rhonda MG off. So Rhonda, sorry if I just butchered the last part. MG off. Rhonda MG off. Uh, she asked, "Have you researched and considered not using natural flavors and citric acid?"
Yes, yes, actually, and that's interesting because the natural flavors are coming up a lot right now with RFK, and they've been talking a lot about those. So, yeah, we're coming out with new and improved. We have the certification of what our natural flavors actually consist of.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we are, and we know that I have the most phenomenal person on my team that's very, very picky. And she came in after the shakes and the gummies were already created. So she helped with the electrolytes and the skincare. And she's definitely on the prowl to source a better vitamin C product. So yes, we are. You
Oh,
answer
cool.
that.
Sweet deal. Yeah, because I
Absolutely.
know that like a lot of people, especially a lot of people from like our audience, like they're very like, what is that ingredient? What is the natural flavor? What they want to know, like the details on it. So if someone wants to know the breakdown, you can just shoot you a message, right? And you guys can go into
Yeah.
more detail if they need to.
Shoot me a message, but to answer that question, we're working with our team right now for our new version of products that are coming out. We just ran out of a particular product and we're reformulating it to be even better. So we listen to everybody. When they reach out to us and they ask us for things like this, we definitely do the research and listen to everybody. We'll never appeal to everybody, but we want to appeal to as many people as possible. And we also want to be as healthy as possible.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you're able to like just be that transparent with people. Because, folks, that's a huge thing. Because a lot of companies will try to gloss over or hide or say, "Oh, well, blah 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 blah," and it's a huge thing for a company to be like, "Hey, we're taking feedback and we're actually making an adjustment to this
Yeah.
product because we know we could do it better and we are going to do it better." Which,
Mm-hmm.
guys, it's a huge trust thing right there. Is for a company being willing to shift or, fine tune their process means that they're actually in the end interested in you and interested in the human beings that they're helping, because a lot of companies don't give 2 cents. They're going to produce whatever crap, and too bad, because they'll cash in on a trend, because they're not interested if they stay around a long time. They want to
Yeah.
cash in on a bunch of money, and then they'll find the next one to jump to. And
And
that's one thing, and that's also why we're collaborating with you in the first place, is because when we first met with you and got a chance to talk with your team and stuff like that, we felt they were open to even our input, and the fact that you are working towards shifting little details like that, and you pay attention to where you source from is gigantic.
Yeah, and we're always, I mean, like I said, we just met with somebody, I'm not going to say his name, but he's done a lot of products that probably your audience trusts for various physicians out there that are very, very popular online. He's the science behind it. And we just met with them yesterday, and this topic came up. So I'm so glad we were just talking about it yesterday. Like, what can we do to improve our products? How can we make them even better? How can we make them, I hate this term, but cleaner. And it's very important. So, we're working right now to get into Air One, and I think that also opens some doors to some different certifications that we wanted to make sure that we had. And so we're always looking for improvement. Absolutely. And I'd love for people to order the products and then give us personal feedback, because we take it very, very serious. Like, very serious. And we did that with cauliflower. And this is a great example of kind of a similar thing happened with Soursop too. Early on, I was offered to make a cheaper version of the cauliflower pizza crust, and one of my competitors took that offer, and they jumped on that bandwagon just as they had jumped on the kale bandwagon, then they were on the cauliflower bandwagon. We stayed true to who we are, which was 5 ingredients or less, using fresh whole cauliflower. We were the only one that was using the fresh cauliflower at the time. So that's where my heart is, and I believe if it's really going to be efficacious and do something for the body, you've got to make sure that you're sourcing the best ingredients possible. And yeah, natural flavors is a real hot topic right now. It's being brought up a lot, and so yeah, we are definitely working on all of those things.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. Hey, steak butter and psych. I love that. I love that Instagram handle. Yeah. Hey, if you can be as simple as that, 100% agree. Is being simple. If you can have access to great quality coconut water, or eating raw meat, or getting your nutrients from simplicity, and eating raw fruit. Like, she encouraged people to try actually the soursop fruit itself if they can get
Absolutely.
access. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have good access to these things, or when they're in a place where it's harder to get a hold of. That's where the supplementation or using the products like this that have been put together can be of benefit. But yeah, if you have the access and the ability and the bandwidth, because again,
Yeah.
also you have to remember, not everyone's on the same page as far as having the bandwidth or are yet ready to, hey, I'm going to just eat some fruit, eat some good raw meat, which I love eating myself. Uh, I like to go raw with it, especially like a steak tartare. It's amazing. And being that simple, some people need to go in a step-by-step process. So products like these that are high quality and are working towards even cleaning it up even more can be tremendous benefit for those people also who don't have yet, or who yet can't see that they can take the time to do that. Supplements a quick way to get them moving in the good direction.
Yeah, we call it the bridge. Really,
Yeah, it's a bridge.
it's the bridge between, you don't want to get on Western medicine, you don't want to get on prescriptions, you can't quite source the fruit or afford the fruit. This is an excellent supplement for that.
Yeah.
Um, and we work with in our internal team, like I'm in my kitchen right now because my office, the internet wasn't working properly. And behind me, I have a microwave, but I have on my innovation team, anti-microwave, anti-everything. Like, she is very, very, she is probably very much like many of your customers. I grew up, you know, with very poor eating habits. My mom was a single mom. She was really, really poor. I had to learn the hard way. I had to get sick, really sick, and learn the hard way. I'm married to a doctor, but I still had to learn the hard way. And I don't agree with a quick pill like that with horrendous side effects. So yes, the best thing is the fresh fruit, for sure, hands down, no doubt. Whole Foods, all about that. But, and that's what we use Whole Foods with the cauliflower situation. But in this circumstance, it is extremely hard to get the fruit. Sometimes you can find pulp in the grocery store,
Yeah.
sometimes. Um, and even some of the drinks that they're selling out there are very poor quality. So
Well,
be mindful of that.
that's
We're
even with
sourcing,
coconut. Well, even
yeah.
with coconut water, people are like, I just drink coconut. Well, finding good quality coconut water, and then you also have to take in consideration, if you're really caring about the world and you're importing coconut water all the way from Thailand, are you helping the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Good
yes,
point.
fresh baby coconut water. The pink one is the best. But yeah, like it's again taking into consideration overall where someone's at, where they're at in their life, what they can process at that moment, what they can kind of like take in. I used to counsel all the time people with nutrition and shifting their lives and detoxing, and you have to meet some people exactly where they're at. If you go and say, "Hey, man, cut all this stuff out and just start eating," which again, yes, eating pure whole foods in their most pure form is the best. Yes,
Hands
but
down.
again, if you've got someone who's grown up in a certain way and lived most of their life, you're also dealing with a whole fundamental collection of emotional beliefs, emotional
Hmm.
systems, and you have to sometimes be gingerly or delicate is a better word in
Yep.
how you're maneuvering them into starting to make a change. And if you can show them like, hey, replace this with this, and they can see that that's possible, you open up a doorway to them then go to the next step, of it. And again, that's where the benefit of sometimes having a good high quality product comes into play, or using a supplement or using something, because you're again, yeah, in a great world that we're hopefully moving towards as more people get aware of it, where
Yeah.
we can just have pure clean water and our meat supply is not contaminated and our fruit supply is not contaminated. Yes, let's all push in
Yeah.
that direction. But in the meantime, let's also help guide people with great, simple solutions to give them the energy again to start making better choices.
Yeah. And I mean, we're learning so much, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that people like you and Human Garage are opening awareness to things that, I mean, it's interesting. I used to think that I have to always be gluten free, and I went over to Italy when my daughter was studying over there, and I ate a pizza. Yeah,
Yes.
she was like, "You have to eat this pizza." I had no inflammation, no attack.
Yeah.
No, it's the chemicals in the wheat that we have here that we allow here that Italy does not allow.
Yep.
So that's another reason why I think it's really important to source the ingredients, high quality ingredients from certain places where we're in the United States, we're learning, but we're about whatever's going to make a quick buck, and that's not, as a company, what we believe, and that's not where we come from. So yeah, I encourage people to try the fruit for sure firsthand, but like you said, a lot of people can't afford it, they can't get their hands on it. Plus, a lot of people have really bad habits, and they're not going to change their habits. They're going to be terribly intimidated by that piece of fruit. It's ugly. It's
Yeah.
not an attractive piece of fruit.
Yeah.
And you know, and cauliflower is not an is a pretty ugly vegetable as well. So I like to say that we take the ugliness out and make beautiful outcomes from the product. So yeah, the fruit definitely firsthand, but if you can try our supplements, I think it's a great alternative for the same price as one piece of fruit. Yeah, so my name is Amy Lacy. I'm the founder of Soursop Nutrition, Be Me Beyond Medicine. We bridge the gap between Western medicine and the food industry. I come from the food industry background, and our products source soursop. We source the pulp and the leaves. We believe that soursop is builds your immune system. It promotes cell regeneration. It has gut health and digestion. You can find it on our website. It helps with powerful aging. I'm 55, so I'm looking for a way to age gracefully. I'm not trying to anti-age. I'm just trying to age gracefully, feel good from the inside out. It Soursop the fruit, it regulates blood pressure. It helps with diabetes. It helps with weight management. We've tried to source the highest ingredients, put them in a supplement for the price of one piece of fruit. You can have a month's supply. So go to Living Be Me. Um, like us on Instagram. We're on all the socials. Find us on Facebook. We have a great brand ambassador program. We'd love for you to become part of our family. We have gummies, we have electrolytes, we have shakes, and we will be launching a skincare line for cell regeneration in August. And we are so grateful to Human Garage. I think we align really well together. We're always improving our products. So thank you to the people that asked us questions about that. I really appreciate it. We take your feedback really seriously.
Awesome. I love it. So, folks, there you go. Grab your Soursop. Why the heck not? It'd be crazy not to at least try it because, again, if you can, on your journey exploring your health and wellness, going down this rabbit hole, if you can add certain things here and there to accelerate your process, why not? You don't have to go overboard. Be selective, obviously. And that's why we also have these conversations with people that we collaborate with so you can take a deeper dive into the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. Because not all supplements are created equal. Not all products are created equal. As you know, if you go in the marketplace, so many companies try to cut corners or capture trends.
Yeah.
The reason we're here collaborating for this very reason is because this beautiful company, this beautiful woman, aging
Oh,
gracefully,
thank
uh,
you.
uh, is focused on the idea of bringing a high quality product to market, continuing to innovate, taking feedback, and refining and bringing and making more available a fruit that's actually super, super powerful at helping people heal and making it more accessible. Because the fruit itself, if you buy the fruit, like she said, is super expensive. Just for one piece of fruit, it's like $30. Many people can't access that, and you can get yourself a month's supply of being able to use the most potent and powerful parts of the fruit and get the benefit from it.
And
Um,
people are asking if you're going to put the link into our company. It's
yep,
Living Be Me. You can get to our company website from
yep,
livingbeme.com or soursopnutrition.com, either
yep,
way. Please, if you order, we would love to hear your feedback and follow us. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I see a couple people asking
yeah, yeah.
what the company is.
Because when this is reposted, and just so you're aware, when we repost a live to our main channel, Instagram actually curtails the repost of a live down to 60 minutes. So we were already on for an hour and a half having a great, beautiful conversation. So if you want to see the complete full version, you will go over to YouTube. But all the pertinent links will be in the text part of our Instagram repost.
Perfect.
So you'll be able to see all the pertinent links, where to go, where to rewatch this. We do have to wrap up and sign off. So again, thank you so much for coming today. Guys, if you haven't done so and you want to explore adding some movement, go to humangarage.net. Join our community. It's pay what you can, wherever you're at financially. You can get in and start moving and healing your body. And you can become more aware of great things to use, like some soursop. And if you want to connect with me personally, because I love to have conversations with people, you can follow me over at Aaron Mathias, The Purpose. I love to help people talk about beliefs and stories they tell themselves. It's a lot of fun to connect into that. And hey, thank you again so much. I love this conversation. And I
Thank
love
you.
that you have such an amazing entrepreneurial spirit and that you also have a bunch of heart behind it. Like you can feel it in talking to you that you actually have this like, and maybe it's from being a mom or whatever, but you have this amazing like care
Thank you.
and openness and concern, and I think it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it comes from being a mom, but it comes from being really sick and having poor habits and learning the hard way. And so, yes, it's near and dear to my heart to put out things that make a difference and change people's lives. And Soursop does, whether it's the fruit or our supplements, it makes a huge difference in your
Yeah.
life in so many ways. So I thank you so much. I love you guys. I was literally have had very little sleep because I got going down the rabbit hole of all the things you
Yeah.
guys are doing, and it's amazing, and you're great. Thank you so much for letting me be here for so long. I appreciate you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, everyone. See y'all soon and adios. Oh, and just shout out your Instagram one last time and the websites one last time. Well, people are still here live, but it will be reposted, everyone. But here we go.
Living be me me living be me,
Living
and
Be Me.
then you can also get to our website by soursopnutrition.com. If you want to follow me personally, it's Hey Amy Lacy, Hay, Amy Lacey. I answer my own DMs. I'd love to send you some samples, but also you can order using the Human Garage discount. And we want your feedback. We want to make our products even better. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on here and talk so much. I appreciate it very much.
You're super welcome. All right, everyone. Adios. See you later.
Have a great day.
See you.